Hello everybody, today we're going to be going over the most competitive settings to have in World of Tanks console. And we're going to start off with inverting the y-axis. Do not do this, this is not good at all. This is going to be inverting your y-axis. Unless that's something that you need or you play with every game, do not turn that on. Next up, toggle zoom. You want this off because it's only going to make you tunnel vision more, because toggling the zoom means if you click the left trigger, it will, if you have this turned on, clicking the left trigger will make the zoom stay, and you can take your hand off the trigger and it will still say zoomed, and you do not want that. You want it only to work when you are holding down the trigger, so the minute you turn it off, it's gone. And because that'll only make you tunnel vision more, you do not want that. Inverting your reverse, this will basically make you go the opposite direction if you pull back on your stick. You don't want that unless that's something that's for you, but don't use that. Toggle artillery zoom. This one you want on actually, because you don't want to be holding your left trigger the whole game when you're in artillery mode and you accidentally let off or something. This one needs to be on. Heading sensitivity. This adjusts the sensitivity while moving the camera left to right. I have this at 55%. You can change this to whatever you like. I think this is a good mix, maybe a little bit higher even. Yeah, I wouldn't go really less than 50% though. Same thing with the pitch sensitivity. This is the sensitivity while moving the camera up and down. Same thing, these could probably be the same. I'm not sure why they were different. Yes, you want these to be somewhat fast so that you're not such a slow, like to turn around and make quick movements, because you want that. Next up, team colors. I use blue and orange personally because these work the best for me as I'm colorblind. And red and green and purple just don't work for me. So that's all by preference. Blue and orange works for me. Vibration, you don't have to have this on. Some people don't like it. Personally, I like this one, and I think I have to have the vibration on. You might actually play a little better without it actually, because it doesn't vibrate your controller, but that's personal preference. Aim assist, absolutely never turn this on. This is a terrible one. It may sound good, like it's trying to help you aim, but it's only going to make you be worse at the game. Because if somebody's trying to poke a corner, say, and just baiting you with their track, it's going to keep trying to move on to the center of that, and it will move the reticle for you, and you're going to miss a ton of shots. Make sure this is off. You want to just learn to aim manually. That is the most important and best way to aim. Horizontal stabilization. I will put a clip up on the thing here. And this basically makes it smoother when you are turning your tank in. Basically makes it easier when you are trying to aim inside of the sniper mode and you are turning your tank. It makes everything a lot smoother, and you want to make sure this is turned on, I would say. Hull lock artillery. This one this is by preference. I have it off. This basically means when you're in artillery mode, you can aim without having the hull locked. So because the gun is usually fixed in a certain place, it will not be able to aim, and you would have to turn it off. If you have this on, you'd have to turn it off in the beginning to actually aim your gun, or you would have to use your left stick to move your hull manually. I'd recommend to have this off unless there's some reason. Hull lock if applicable. This is to any vehicle. I have this on. I don't want this moving my tank. Basically, what hull lock does is, if you're in something like a HORI 3 or something with a limited gun traverse or a GROM, and you have this off, when you move your camera out of its gun traverse, it will turn the tank automatically. I personally hate this, as it gets me killed sometimes and it moves my tank when I don't want it to move, as I think it is better just to manually move it to where you want, and so you have full control of the tank. Having full control maximizes the potential you can have in a tank, and I always want that because I want to be the most competitive that is possible. Minimap default, this is square versus circle. The square gives you less information, but it gives you information about the whole battlefield, where round gives you a lot more information, but at closer range you cannot see the battlefield. Both are good. I would recommend square, and then in battle, when you get into those positions where there's a lot of tanks around you, say you're on Himmelsdorf and you're on Banana Road, and it's getting pretty crowded there, you can hold down the button on Xbox with the two squares on it, and it will, I think you hold it down for like a second or two, and it will switch in game, and if you need to go back, you can just hold it down again and it will switch back. I have it defaulted on square because that is the best one, I think, overall. Minimap location, this is personal preference. It should be bottom right, that's the best place to put it. However, I'm so used to it being the top left that I cannot switch it now because I'm so used to looking there. So that's unfortunate for me, but I would definitely make sure you move this to the bottom right. Default server. This is basically what server it will automatically connect you to when you load into the game. I have it as USA, as that is my main server. If you live in the EU or wherever, whichever one has the least amount of ping, you can choose this too, or you can just have server default. I think it's better to just choose which one though. Colorblind mode. This is if you're colorblind. You can see it changes the colors. If you have colorblind, yeah, perfect. You can use that. I don't use that though because it makes the game look weird, and I don't want it looking weird for you guys. Show FPS. You want this to know your FPS. You always want, that's, you know, more information. You want the most amount of information that is possible because you want to have the maximum potential. So you want to turn FPS. It'll put a bit up in the top left corner, and you can barely see it, so it's not a big thing, but you want that on. Additional efficiency indicators, you want all this on. This shows your assists and block damage and a couple other things. Make sure this is on. It's more you know, knowledge you can see in the game, more information. You want all of that turned on. Whenever it's information, you want the information stuff turned on. Garage offers, you don't really want this, I don't think. If you opt in, you can see that it will show right here. I don't care about the new tank. You know, maybe you do, that's cool. I don't want to see it. I don't want it marketed to me, so I have it opted out because I don't want to see that. Show ping, this is an important one. You want to make sure this is always on because that's more information. That'll go up in your top left corner next to the FPS, I believe, and that'll show you ping. So if you see that you're lagging or something, you can tell, and you can maybe pull back behind a corner until the lag stops if you get a lag spike or something. Because sometimes I'll see that my tank is turning really weird and it'll show like 200 ping, and I just go pull back behind cover for like, you know, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and it goes away and comes back. So you want to know all that stuff because that's more information. Health bar, this is one of the most important ones in the entire game. Health bar will show you how much health each team has, and you want that because you want to know what the team has. The full health bar will display a bar of each side, like a bar graph, and you can see by that. Also, it will show a percentage on each side of the percent of health that is left on the enemy team. You can change this to a couple different versions. If you just want the bar, that's cool. It doesn't show you the percentages. However, the percentages are more important than the bar, and you can only turn on the percentages, which is totally fine, as you don't need the bar if you only want the percentages. That works just as well, and might actually be some people might like that a bit more. I personally want the full thing so that I don't have to be looking just at the corners, because it will put the percentage right at the corners next to the team, and I want to make sure I can see it nice and clear, so I have it the full health bar. Hide battle interface, basically this turns off the HUD and everything, so if you want to make a cinematic view or something, this is what that can be used for. Make sure this is on or off, sorry. You want to make sure this is always off because you cannot play the game with it at all. It's basically unplayable, as you cannot see your reticle, you cannot see anything but the tanks, and it makes it look very nice. I will say that's how I get screenshots for thumbnails and etc. But make sure this is off unless you're trying to take screenshots or something like that. Safe zone calibration, you want to make sure this is exactly where your TV is or your monitor, whatever you're using. Make sure this is all the way to the max or it will squish it and make it look weird. Make sure that's at the max. Gamma, this is personal preference. I have my at 70 because it works best for me, but everybody might be a little different and what the lighting is like for them. When it comes down to audio, I don't have it too loud because it hurts my ears when I use a headset. So I usually have this at about 50% most of it. Chat volume I have 0 because I don't use it. I have everybody muted right here. That's basically if you want it. I think you can have it turned on, yeah, enabled or platoon only. I have it mute all because I don't use it. Interface sound volume, this is the clicking between menus and stuff. I have that almost 100% because I'm gonna put it at 100% because it's very low anyways and you can barely hear it. I want to hear that kind of stuff. Effects, this is basically explosions and I believe gun shooting and all that kind of stuff. I have that a bit lower because sometimes it gets a bit loud and I can't hear. When it comes to in-game music and garage music, this is I usually have these turned on, but since I film games and stuff and I sometimes put music over it or talk over it, I have them turned off because sometimes it gets a bit messy with everything and you can't hear certain things. That is the only reason I have it off, because this game has some amazing music and I would definitely recommend to turn the music up because it's very good. The garage music, I believe, is only for some of these special edition tanks. I know the Metal Fest tanks have like rock music playing with it, or whatever songs are with the tank. I don't want to hear that really. I believe there's a couple, when you buy a tank, there's also music that plays. If you have this off, it will not play that music. There's a couple other sounds that I believe it won't play if you have it turned it off. But that's really just, you don't hear it that often. Vehicle sound volume, I think this is the engine and tracks and all that kind of stuff. Turn this wherever you like. I have it at 30% just so I don't hear it and it's so loud. And then last but not least, we have the controller configuration. This is up to everybody. I believe handbrake and the default are best. You can try these. Basically, it will move your controls around, and you can try each one, which is, it's up to you, whatever one you like. I have found that the handbrake works best for me because I play light tanks, and I like having the handbrake on the left bumper, as that is very big to me. And yeah, it literally works perfect for me in every way. So that's my configuration. Definitely try. It's probably, believe it sets everybody up on the default. Definitely experiment with some of the others, but handbrake would be a good one to try. There's another one, I cannot remember which one it is, and maybe handbrake click. There's a couple good ones. Yeah, that's going to be all my settings, and I believe these are the most competitive settings at the minute. I could maybe do a mouse and keyboard one potentially. I don't know if a lot of people play with mouse and keyboard. That's the only reason I didn't do it. If you guys would like to see that, I can do that too, because I've played with mouse and keyboard before. I'm not as good, but I know my controller settings, and these are what I think are best. So yeah, hopefully you guys have a amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you later.